Hello and welcome to This Week in Star Citizen. It is the 11th of February. We have a lot going on this week. CIG did some server maintenance. They've got the 4.0.2 build in Evocati. There's some new ships coming out. There's Coramor. We've got the comms dive and more fight for Pyro. So let's jump straight in. CIG said in their This Week in Star Citizen post, last week was all about reinforcing our commitment to playability. We marked the return of Star Citizen Live with a special 3-hour episode where CTO Benoit Beauséjour broke down the top issues affecting the game and shared insights into our plans for bringing forward improvements. Really liked that show. We've got a breakdown of that on the channel. Go check that out, and we'll be talking about it more and more because it has very wide-reaching implications. A huge thank you to everyone who contributed to the tracking the most impactful bugs and issues thread on Spectrum. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. We're now compiling the list and cross-referencing it with our existing quality of life targets to ensure we prioritize the most meaningful changes. So basically, CIG are looking at trying to, in the short term, fix as many of the annoying bugs as they can, and then sort of triage, plan out the rest to how they can address them ASAP. Many of you may have noticed that we exercised a scheduled downtime, which was utilized to bring some improvements to the back end that were negatively impacting things over the weekend. We appreciate your understanding on this one, and we're actively discussing the potential for more regular maintenance windows to better support the live service. I think that's a really good idea. Have a weekly or fortnightly maintenance because it makes sense. Get everything in order, make sure the servers are running, reboot a load. We want to use maintenance periods to perform operations that we cannot do live while players are online, as well as coordinate the release of changes that necessitate a change to both client and game servers. This time around, we used the downtime to tune many settings in the back-end systems where we saw some contention. Number of threads budget for the primary database schedulers, the ones that host the game shards, and other queue tuning for how we deal with some error cases that would inflate some queues artificially and overall slowed down a lot of operations. Hopefully these changes will help the time it takes to stow and unstow your players. We'll keep you posted as we have more information to share. So much needed back-end changes there. And Cloud Imperium, they are staying relatively true to their word. They are focusing on playability, getting a load of their house in order when it comes to making the game more stable as well. Atmo Esports has also opened its System 7 registration for ground vehicle racers. Only 16 teams will make the cut and get a chance to battle their way to the grand finals at the end of May. Think you have what it takes? Sign up, and I'll put the links to the This Week in Star Citizen down below, and you can find all the links to everything we discuss in there. What else is going on this week? CIG have rolled out a Star Citizen comms dive, the second one. Their last post was met with a ton of positive feedback. They addressed a load of the burning questions that have appeared on Spectrum and Reddit and that sort of stuff. A load of quite important questions, typically about the game's development, a feature, a mechanic, a bug. You want more of these, so you will have more. CIG did reiterate, though, that they won't be able to cover every topic in every post, but rest assured, they're reading everything and actively hunting down answers. There's going to be more to come. I will be putting a dedicated video out for that, because there's a lot of quite juicy information there. Later Tuesday, the Spectrum comms will glow with warmth as they kick off this year's Coramor. This is Valentine's Day in Star Citizen. There'll be a bit of a ship sale, typically with 2-player ships or ships that you can fly with someone else, and some like pink and red skins, stuff like that. CIG continue though. Originally a UE holiday honouring the unbreakable bond between two citizens, no matter how far apart, it has since grown into a celebration of all things togetherness. We'll also be setting a Hearts Racing with a special look at Anvil's latest Hornet offerings for 2 in the newest episode of Behind the Ships. It looks like we're getting the Super Hornet Mark II Heartseeker as part of the Coramor celebrations. We'll also be, at very least, seeing the standard Super Hornet. Will it go on sale at the same time? Probably, but it's possible that it might not. They might save that for later in the year. And that also suggests to me that the Super Hornet Mark IIs will probably be in 4.0.2. I was thinking maybe they could release them with the current live build, but typically they'll want to test out a ship before just releasing it. It is effectively different hull from the standard Hornet Mark II because it's a 2-seater. Also, I'm really interested Is that going to be as popular as a ship as the original Super Hornet was? Because, well, there's a F7A Mark II that's already in players' hands and was actually a free earnable upgrade for the F7C Mark II. There could be some more surprises with that Super Hornet, but maybe just having 2 seats is pretty good. Is it going to have other differences to the military version of that Mark II Hornet? Tell me what you think in the comments below, and are you interested in that ship? I mean, we're going to learn about it soon enough anyway. Back to This Week in Star Citizen post though. If that's not enough, the fight for Pyro enters its 3rd phase as the story unfolds for Citizens for Prosperity, the Headhunters, and the Frontier Fighters. So yes, there are more phases to this event, potentially more rewards. I believe the event is evolving based on who's doing well in the factional warfare, and it looks like we'll see these events evolve and expand week to week, as well as having new ones monthly, with the Fight for Pyro phase ending when 4.0.2 is released, and then they have the Supply or Die new set of missions. And that new event is very much just Jump Town in Pyro, but because of that, there's a lot more risk versus reward going on, a bit more factional warfare, and that's a good point. Actually, Alpha 4.0.2 is in Evocati, and CIG should be releasing an update to that build later today. It is an NDA. We can talk about the actual patch notes and stuff like that, and we'll cover them as we know more. I'm currently expecting 4.0.2 to be released by the end of this month, and then expecting potentially 0.X patches each month as part of Star Citizen's new sort of release cadence. Maybe. I mean, that's what CIG have basically said, right? Monthly patches. We'll have to see exactly how that pans out. Thursday, Inside Star Citizen returns with an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the development of the 3-faction event Fight for Pyro. It'd be good to see CIG talk about this and probably see some plans for the future and how these sort of narrative events will help shape the game, because it's very much going to be the factions that do well or whatever. The narrative will change in-game, and that will actually affect in-game stuff. Interesting thing, though, is if one of the factions doesn't have as many players playing with it, or is getting trounced, well, how do you deal with that? Do you give a bonus to players joining that faction, make the missions more rewarding? A dynamic mission system in the future would do this automatically, but CIG might have to do it manually. I'm sort of interested to know how they're going to deal with it, and I'd love to know your point of view on that in the comments below as well. Do you have any good ideas for how they can deal with faction population and getting players to play with factions they might not necessarily want to originally? I mean, why not all just pile into one faction and demolish all the others? Really interested in that. On Friday as well, we'll see a newsletter from CIG, probably a sneak peek of that Supply or Die event. I'd expect 4.0.2 to go into wider PTU probably next week, but again, we'll have to wait and see. Boom! That's it for your Star Citizen this week. You should probably check out NordVPN, nordvpn.com/BoredGamer, or the links below. You can get yourself a VPN. NordVPN, best VPN I've ever advertised. I love it. You can use it. Just click the links. It's hugely discounted. Why wouldn't you want a VPN? Also, this month, we are giving away a Misc fortune, as well as some skins for that, a game package for it, and lifetime insurance. Just comment on any of my videos made during February to be in for a chance of winning that. And if you want to further support the channel, there's Patreon, there's direct donations, there's the join button under my videos, which I encourage you to click, but also just sharing, liking, subscribing. That all goes a huge way. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.